Hey, what's up, guys? Ain't made a video in a while. This is, to me, a very important one. First of all, let me say, my heart truly goes out to these poor innocent children dying. It's so hard to even talk about. I mean, where is the protest? Where is... You mean to tell me George Floyd, this man who terrorized his own city, his life was more valued and more praised than an innocent child? Than an innocent child? All because of who they were killed by? Folks, if y'all don't stop sending money to Black Lives Matter, send it, I tell you what, send your money to me. If you send the money to them and you really want a good cause, send it to me. Because I'll make sure that money goes to people like this. I mean, these Black Lives Matter, they don't care about y'all. They care about that $40 million they don't have to explain and talk, where they're wasting that money at. And here's this dumb thing, is they putting all that money in their pocket and they get all you people to protest for free and tear up shit. But that's not the horrible part. The horrible part are these poor children that are caught up in this fake Black Lives Matter, and nobody, and I mean nobody, is doing a damn thing about it. I was gonna start with Candace Owens' video. You know what? Instead, I'm gonna start with Kumo's interview yesterday. So let me change this real quick. Alright, so here he is yesterday. Let's see what he's got. Let's see what the man's got to say a little bit. Let's see what he's talking about. You know, he lost 17 people just last night. Just last night. Let's see what the man's talking about.
Testing equipment that was only hospital PPE.
To take us taking responsibility for ourselves and taking actions that look at data and science and not just our opinions.
Right. Thank you very much, Mayor. And you're right. The unfortunate.
This video is 9 minutes long. I mean, I'm not gonna torture y'all with this. I already watched it. Know the key parts, so but I just want y'all to see 17 people, like just since last night. A 1-year-old baby, several children. And let's see what the man's talking about. Surely he's got a plan. Surely he's obviously concerned about human life, because he's so concerned about the COVID, people getting sick and dying from that. Well, surely he don't want babies and kids dying from bullets. So let's go on a little bit here.
and really frustrating point here is, why did other states have to go through this? I mean, we knew what we were dealing with. New York went down the path before. We lived exactly this. Just learn from what New York did. Learn from the numbers, learn from the data. And we knew.
That's one of the part. This is all through the video. He talks about numbers. He talks about data. He talks about learning from it. Folks, let me tell you something. New York was one of the first places to get hit. Nobody knew it was coming. In this press conference, he actually claims that the federal government knew. Let me tell you what. As soon as President Trump learned about it, he shut down. Everybody knows it. He shut down from people from getting in, coming in from over there to making it worse. And if he hadn't, New York may not be alive right now. Let me say that again. New York may not be alive right now. This man is so stupid. But folks, but he's okay with children and black on black crime right now. He's even okay with police getting killed. Where are you American patriots protesting about Black Lives Matter now? So if you a cop and you a good cop and you black, your life don't matter. If you a child, an innocent child, your life does not matter. If you live in the city of New York and you don't have the COVID-19 coronavirus, the China virus, because it's from China, your life does not matter. Folks, history is writing itself. History is being written right now, and I'm so sad. I am so sad. I'm shamed. I'm hurt. I'm despaired. The things we care about and the people we are okay getting hurt and getting killed. What do you stand for? Who are you? Do you not care about your children? Do you not care about these children? Do you not care about these children? Do you not care about your freedom? St. Louis just charging people and went and took their guns because protesters busted in their property and they defended themselves. They didn't hurt nobody. They just took the position of defense. They didn't even point the gun at nobody. Folks, that is... And they got charged with a crime. Okay, well that right there, your Second Amendment right just got violated. How do you get charged with a crime when you clearly exercised your Second Amendment right? What, because it was a Black Lives Matter group? How many arrests was made when that same group busted down the gate? And if you don't believe I'm telling the truth when I say busted, go check it out. They busted down their gate. destruction of private property, trespassing of private property. So that's rioting at that point. There's no at the second I don't. If you destroy a leaf on a tree, you become rioters. Period. If you want people to feel threatened, like you're about to do them bodily harm, that's when you become. You're not a riot. You're not there to speak on a peaceful message at all. But you want to know something? When them people crossed that line, they didn't come running out with the guns. They called for help. Nobody came. So you wasn't allowed to get help, and you ain't allowed to protect yourself. And they got charged with a crime. Are we still in the United States of America? Because if we don't unite and stand up for the laws that we all agree is right and start protecting these children, keep President Trump in, and vote somebody like Candace Owens in right behind him, folks, you might as well call up China and ask that man over there to come over here, and we might as well sell our country to him. I mean, that's what them people that got charged in St. Louis, that's what's going on. That's socialism. You can't protect yourself when your life is being threatened, when your property is being destructed. I'm going to tell you right now. If somebody hurts one of my kids, I'm killing. And nobody does nothing about it. Whoever it is won't be safe. They won't be able to sleep at night. But why isn't anybody standing up for these children? I'm so outraged. I just want to scream right now. Where is anybody with common sense? Where's the protest now? So basically we can kill anybody else. But you kill a child, it's okay. You kill a cop that was trying to protect somebody else or put a criminal in jail, that's okay. We can arrest people that we're not providing protection to, and the second they try to defend themselves, let's put them in jail. Folks, I'm scared for what my kids is going to go through. I'm begging, I'm asking, I'm pleading with the common sense people. If you have children, we cannot let this go on. What do you think your children what do you think their future holds for them? It's either more of this, or we have to put a stop to it. I'm not trying to brainwash anybody. I'm concerned about the future of your children, the future of my children, their safety, their right to freedom, their right to protect themselves.
That if you reopen recklessly, the virus was going to take off again. If you're not doing precautions, the virus was going to take off. Now, New York's problem is we have the infection coming from other states back to New York. We're worried about our infection rate going up because of people coming from other states where the...
So I'll give them one thing, credit so far, for the most part. they got they seem and have the appearance of they got COVID at bay for the moment. And let me say that again. The appearance is. Now, I want you guys to know he gave no kudos to President Trump, even though President Trump sent him to hospital, or he sent a hospital ship over there. He had supplies shipped there. He pretty much gave the man everything he asked for. And in this conference here, President Trump didn't do anything for him. Didn't give him anything. He knew about the federal government knew about the COVID-19. Didn't do nothing about it. Blah, blah, blah. And you just heard him say their biggest problem is, people bringing the virus back in. No. Your biggest problem right now is children dying. Your biggest problem is right now is black lives are being killed while you have a Black Lives Matter mural painted in the center of town. How can you have that painted in the center of your city and not give a shit about a 1-year-old baby dying? Somebody explain that to me.
The infection rate is higher. We have a former mayor who stepped up and brought Johns Hopkins to the table, and we came up with a train. Look at the data. We test more. We have more data than any state. Look at the
more
data.
Testing, more
if
data.
you have the virus under control, reopen. If you don't have the virus under control, then you can't reopen, right? We're not going to use our children.
Folks, explain something to me. How can this man be so smart about this? He's all about numbers. He's all about data. Hey, if there's a danger out there and the virus is out of control, we don't open. If there are criminals out there and we're losing a bunch of people, then we need less protection. We need to open up everything and put kids out on the street. I mean, data is real simple. It gives you data on everything. Either you care about lives or not. Either this man cares about New York or he doesn't. You can't care about a virus that's killing people and then turn around and not care about criminality killing people. What's the difference? They're dying. And here's the thing. The children is more likely to live through the virus. You know what they're not going to live through? That bullet hitting them anywhere on their body. So you tell me, what are you more concerned about? Go ahead. I'm waiting. You're not concerned about your child catching a stray bullet? How many of y'all's gonna book a trip to New York right now? Because the virus is at bay. Go ahead, take your children down there and walk down there. No, people. You know what we need to do? There needs to be a real protest and go and shut that city down for real and demand this man. Folks, it ain't getting no better. Somebody needs to go on down that mural and add to it, all lives matter. This is going to turn into a long
as a
video.
litmus test, and we're not going to put our children in a place where their health is endangered. It's that simple.
Did you just hear what he said? Did you just hear what that man said? Just in case you missed it, just in case you missed it.
Them up. Don't worry. Yeah. He was wrong on the economic reopening. He's wrong on the schools reopening. Everybody wants to reopen the schools. I want to reopen the schools. Everybody wants to reopen the schools. It's not do we reopen or not. You reopen if it is safe to reopen. How do you know if it's safe? You look at the data. You don't hold your finger up and feel the wind. You don't have an inspiration. You don't have a dream. You don't have an emotion. Look at the data. We test more. We have more data than any state. Look at the data. If you have, everybody wants to reopen the school. Just reopen the economy. There's no reason for any of this stuff. Guidelines as to how that school reopens, right? State formula determines if it reopens. If it reopens, the second question is how, and that will be done by state guidelines. But the question of school opening is like the question of reopening the economy, reopening the schools, the economy, reopening. There's no reason for any of this stuff, phases, data, masks. It's all baloney. Just reopen. Yeah, we saw how well that worked. Go ask Florida and Texas and Arizona how well that worked. On schools, what does he say? Reopen the schools. Just open them up. Don't worry. Yeah. He was wrong on the economic reopening. He's wrong on the schools reopening. Everybody wants to reopen the schools. I want to reopen the schools. Everybody wants to reopen the schools. It's not do we reopen or not. You reopen if it is safe to reopen. How do you know if it's safe? You look at the data. You don't hold your...
I don't know how many times this man has said look at the data here. But he can't figure out why children and innocent people are getting killed on the streets right now.
Your finger up and feel the wind. You don't... Back to New York. The first mistake brought it from Europe to New York. The second mistake will bring it from Georgia to New York and Texas to New York and Arizona to New York and the 38 states that see the virus going up. Both times, New York did nothing wrong. It was the federal government that caused our problem and then, frankly, wanted to have nothing to do with the solution. They caused the problem.
This part just goes right through me. The federal government gave New York everything they asked for. Everything they asked for, and then some. And had President Trump not shut down travel and ban travel from China and whatnot, nobody knew it was getting the COVID-19 from Europe. They had no evidence of it. The only thing we knew was coming from China. So that was the first place they put restrictions on. But I'll tell you what he does know. How children are dying right now. Just in case y'all don't know.
then they said you're on your own. Literally, you have to be innocent. Nobody died in the Watergate scandal. Thousands of people. These other states. So, New York tough, smart, united, disciplined, loving. In case you haven't heard that before, because love.
Tough is, I guess, you have to be able to fight off bullets. Guess that should, he forgot to put that on New York tough on his little banner.
Love wins at the end of the day. Love is the rainbow. Timeline on the bottom. We forged community.
I'm wondering, number one, your reaction to that. Is that the kind of comment that ends up killing the movie, where there's a lack of explanation from city officials, including the mayor?
He can't even hear what they're asking. The sign language guy, I don't know if y'all caught that. He's trying to listen. He's like, I don't know shit.
So I have no comment on what she said. But people have theories. An incorrect theory doesn't wind up being correct because there's a void. And I think we have been talking about what's.
Where there's a lack of explanation from city officials, including the mayor.
Well, look, an incorrect. I don't know what she said, so I have no comment on what she.
Okay, so what he's talking about is that stupid idiot. What's her name? Whatever her name is. The one she said the reason people are getting killed and the reason criminals up because people are stealing bread and can't pay their rent. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah. So they're basically asking him about crime right now. About what she said, and basically in a nutshell, like, well, what's going on? Why so many people dying? You notice how all of a sudden he becomes so stupid? Like he don't know. He has no clue. Watch.
She said, but people have theories. An incorrect theory doesn't wind up being correct because there's a void. And I think we have been talking about what's going on. I don't think there is one answer, but I think you raised a good point last week. I think there are a number of contributing factors.
He's right. There's a number of contributing factors here. Number one, we defunded $1 billion of the police. Number two, we stopped any new hires coming in replacing the people that retired. I mean, not any officers that died. But yet, all of a sudden, we don't have no data on this. We don't know anything. We're completely stupid.
And you put all those factors together, and that's what you're seeing going on. There's no one factor, and that's why it's a little more complicated. You know, in politics, they want to be able to say it's just this. It's not just this. There are a number of factors. But I don't think, you have violent crime, which is murder, etc., more than robbery, I think the violent crimes have been more drug-related, etc., on the facts. Yeah.
On the rent issue specifically, though, as I'm sure you all remember, the governor did an executive order back in March that said there couldn't be any evictions on commercial or residential rent through June. We then extended that.
So that right there debunks that idiot who said they were stealing money, food and trying to get rent and all this other stuff. You can't be evicted for not paying rent right now. So, if you don't have the money for rent or food, then take your rent money and go get food. But that's not even happening. The 1-year-old child got shot at a barbecue. You're not even safe to grill out in New York. But this mayor has no data on that. And he didn't even bring up children dying. Murders, there's several reasons. There's no one underlying reason. Yeah, there is. It's you, dumbass. He should be charged with the murder of that child. Accountability. That's how it works.
For anyone who is COVID hardship related through the end of August. In the interim, the
data, and the curve shows what the curves. The data, the facts are the facts. So I think those material facts.
The number.
There's testing supplies and PPE are increasingly in short supply nationwide. How much progress has New York hospitals made towards realizing that 90-day goal that you set in early May to stockpile PPE? And how does that 7-state consortium you also announced about that time play into that?
The consortium is more of a longer-term production mode. If you put those states together, can we manufacture our own?
All right, you get out of here. I'm done with this. I'm just really upset, Guys, I'm so tired of watching children be victimized. And I honestly hope you are too. I really and truly hope you are too. And I hope and I pray. Folks, people wanted to get, let's go protest. I'll protest with you. I'm certainly not going to go to New York and protest by myself. Or St. Louis. But I sure would love to stand up for this. And right now, this is the only way I know how to do it. Nobody's standing up for our Second Amendment, right? If we don't fight for that, man, y'all want socialism? Vote for Joe Biden. You'll get all of it you can handle. And I might move to Canada.
There have been kind of black conservative movements that have kind of popped off at different times, but they've kind of made 1 or 2 headlines and gone away. This one is different.
Because it's cool. Before, it used to be like the clean cut, proper talking, unrelatable person. You can't reach the streets if you're somebody that comes off better than them. I'm from there, so I know. Like if when people like that come in the hood, we look at them like, they look at you like, oh, you think you're better than us. So it becomes like a nerdy thing. It's not even cool. And I think Plexic makes it cool. I think exactly even with me, I make it cool. I'm tatted up, man. I smoke my I talk. I'm a regular dude, but I support a movement that's actually helping build our community instead of destroying it.
You want to just go ahead and we'll get some rolling here.
Cameras rolling.
Cameras rolling?
Really?
Blexit means to me redemption. Over the last generation, centuries ago, and coming up into today's, I believe that many of our families in Black America have been victimizing themselves. Their parents have been telling them this feeble that they have to be careful about being Black. They have to be careful going to the store. They're always watched, and that someone owes them something that isn't true, and it's been passed down for generation to generation. So redemption is, for me, I see Black America, Blexit, as redemption, to be safe from that mentality, leaving that mentality behind to pick up this mentality of freedom. Take that mentality of freedom and move forward, go forward, run with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a message y'all should be getting behind. Stop supporting Black Lives Matter. I was looking for the video, but it looks like they might have premiered it. You could watch anything from Candace Owens. Anything. Y'all need to subscribe to her channel. Folks, we gotta get her in a position to run for the presidency in 2024. If you care about this country, if you care about your Second Amendment right, if you care about these children, if you care about crime in your city, if you truly care about Black Lives Matter, first of all, somebody needs to fund the fake Black Lives Matter group. That's number one. And we need to protect our children, your children, my children, black children, white children, Asian children. I mean, these American children need protection. Where is it? It's certainly not in New York or Chicago or St. Louis. Somebody, please get them people out of office. I pray. I pray that y'all speak this voting. Educate yourself. YouTube has all the information. Don't let somebody sit here and brainwash you. Get on here and do the research. Let's watch a little bit of this real quick. I guess it's enough to bring us on it.
So we got an amazing panel, and what we're going to do is we're going to have
what it means to be human is different. In 6 to 10 years,
things, MSNBC, CNN, or Fox.
Let's do it.
Because I'm going to be real serious. If you love black people, then you got to be able to look black people that you disagree with in the eye and talk to them like they're human, instead of yell at them, call them names, or disrespect them. We ain't had none of that shit here. So we getting ready to have a real conversation that only Revolt can have. And I'm excited about the brothers and sisters on this panel that are gonna make that happen. And so what I'd like to get right into is this whole notion of Trap the Vote. Trap the Vote is not just the theme of our panel, but it's an organization. And it's a C3 organization that Steve started. Steve, I'd love to hear why you started this organization and what you want to accomplish in this term, in this election term.
First off, I want to acknowledge that this room feels like the cookout, and I feel super comfortable right now. This is dope. For real. Mike was talking about the potato salad. That's what we're about to cook up right now, right? So I'm a member of a team, and Trap the Vote is about civic engagement. It's about political participation. It's about making sure that young people vote. We talk about youth of culture. When we think about the culture today, the most powerful culture on the planet, hip-hop culture, black culture that's at the center of it, and every other same streams on our to them. Where everybody feels.
Hear it over and over again. I don't go to the polls because involved. Tamika and then Tip.
You know, I think that in this moment, we definitely have to be delivered from that old language around who died for us to have our right to vote and all of these different things. It doesn't work. I think in this particular moment, we have to respect the fact that young people are brilliant. They are reading, watching, listening, and paying attention. And whether or not we value their opinions does not mean it does not count. The only way we can bring young people to the table is to talk to them about the issues that are at the center of what they care about. In their communities, Police brutality is an issue. Obviously, education is an issue. Jobs are issues. These are the things that they care about. So when we fly in looking fancy and having people that don't know anything about Miss Lucy's water being dirty and don't know anything about what's going on the ground, we are missing them completely. We cannot talk about people without having them as part of the conversation.
And she's got a good point there. You know, you're never going to talk to anybody when you roll in. You know, most people that come and speak have been doing it for a while and got a little, you know, made money and you know, and then they come in rolling up, looking better, all you know, and forgot how to speak to people. And that's just forgot how to speak to people. You're only gonna reach them if first of all you do some research and you research what their particular city's going through, what kind of issues they're having. We got a lot of the same problems across the United States, and then we got individual city problems. We ain't got, I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio. We ain't got the same problems St. Louis, Chicago, and New York has by any means, thank God. Thank the Lord. I do not want my kids to, and I don't want it here. Because I want my children to feel safe. I want to be able to know I can make it to my car, carry my baby, and put her in the car without catching a stray bullet. I mean, is that too much to ask?
And more importantly, I feel like so many of our
glorify their heroes. I am a proud American.
Let me tell y'all something. Big Mike here. Big Mike, he's on it, man. He is on it. Him and Candace Owens. A lot of people don't know Big Mike is political. He's on it.
Let me say that first. I have no problem saying that because I'm provided an opportunity in this country that I travel around the world other black men and women don't have. Now, it is my responsibility to take that opportunity and create more opportunities by way of economy, by way of having a platform to speak on the behalf of, and by way of making sure my constitutional rights and privileges are honored, which is why you hear me, who stands a lot of times with people on the left, say, I don't give a fuck what them niggas talking about. I'm not giving up my gun for nobody. Because the Second Amendment promises me that. I speak and say what I like because the First Amendment promises me that.
So Mike, no, I don't want you to stop. What I want you to do is tell me about the process, because you and Bernie have been riding hard, but I'm interested in knowing what was the conversation.
But it's bigger than Bernie. We're gonna keep it local. I'm talking about Atlanta. And what I mean is Atlanta is a black city that succeeded with non-black, with black but non-black total agreement. We had a black paper here that was owned by black Republicans that helped the SCLC promote, which was owned by black liberals. We had black ministers who were ultimately conservative and told Dr. King when he was a young man in the late 50s, hey, I want to start this civil rights campaign. They said, there's Alabama, take your ass on down there and go. It didn't start in Atlanta because Atlanta niggas had some money and they was a little bougie. It started outside Atlanta and came back with young people. So young people, the old people now who you disagree with once were young. And because they did things like took bullets, took beatings, took bashes to the brain, you have that opportunity. So abso-goddamn-lutely, there's a blood oath that's been made. There's been a blood oath made in every American. When we learned about the American Revolution in Collier Heights Elementary in an all-black neighborhood, we did not learn about a white country.
Let me say this. I heard this the other day while I'm thinking about it. You talk about racism and whatnot. First of all, You know how many people were against slavery? And it's real simple. It's real simple, people. Slavery had to be voted out, and enough white people gave a shit to realize this wasn't right. And guess what? It wasn't a whole lot of Democrats. That's a fact. Democrats have been behind the negativity in our country going back to slavery. But all that gets swept under the rug. But enough people with a conscience say we don't want to watch this. Slavery ain't how humans are supposed to live, and we're going to get rid of it. I just want to point that out.
Country that simply used us as slaves. We learned that the first person to die on the behalf of this country was a black man named Crispus Attucks. That gives a sense of pride to a black boy. Well, what happens to that black boy then? That little motherfucker grows up and goes to Frederick Douglass High School. Frederick Douglass is the most photographed person of the 19th century, a person who worked with both Democrats and Republicans, who helped free not only black people, but women. He said in 1865, women and black people deserve the right to vote. But I wouldn't know that had I not been educated by a syllabus that was given from Clark University and Dr. Asa Hilliard. I am, what you see when you see me and you see Tip Harris is the product of black excellence. We didn't wake up and a nigga started using big words and we sing and dance and all of a sudden we got it figured out. This is a process. You are a part of a process. The same way a Jewish child is a part of a 10,000-year process of keeping a culture. Clarence Avant is the reason you have Sean Combs. It's the reason you would have the next. So never in your black ass life allow your history to be wiped away. Now, after you know I'm dragging my black ass out when I don't feel like it, I don't feel like going to vote, but I'm going to get my black ass up. I'm going to call my black ass friend T.I. I'm going to say, get your black ass up and vote. Take your black ass children to vote so it becomes a habit. Who is your congressman? Who is your senator? Who is your city council person? And if you cannot answer those, you have already failed yourself. Google that and know that it is my responsibility because I stand on the shoulders of others. It is my responsibility because this is my clear and present right now. And it is my responsibility on behalf of my children going forward. And that's simply why I vote.
And I appreciate that. And I think the context, no, I'm serious. I think the context you made between knowing and teaching our history versus the messaging that we're using are two different things, because I totally agree with you. I still have the question for you nonetheless, because I think you have negotiated with people what your support looks like in ways that a lot of us have never negotiated. The same way business people have sat at the table with people and negotiated deals that other people can't negotiate. So I'm curious in knowing, what does the negotiation look like with a candidate? When you say, I'm gonna give you my support, these are the things that have to be there in order for me to give that. Because I think that's important as we start talking about who we're gonna support, and I need to hear that from you.
I mean, if you look at our mayor, I supported Vincent Forrest, who was a Bernie crat. He put forth along a marijuana decriminalization bill. Well, why does marijuana decriminalization matter in Atlanta? I know a lot of young men who are my sons and Tip's son age, they get a bullshit marijuana conviction, all of a sudden their Hope Scholarship ends at Clark, ends at Morehouse, ends at Georgia State. I wanted to make sure that that couldn't happen to a young man again. I told her when she was on city council, if you can get city council, if you guys support that decriminalization bill, you have my full and total support. And I would like to publicly say, man, me and T.I. stood out in the rain on those steps that day and that morning and gave those speeches on her behalf because we saw her come closer to the progressive change train of thought that we wanted. And after doing it, Atlanta followed. Clarkston was ahead of us, but you see other counties like DeKalb, Gwinnett now decriminalizing. That comes directly out of local politics with Vincent Ford. That comes directly out of us sitting down talking to candidates. And in terms of national candidates, if your national policy appeals or I see it can work for my people in some way, you have my support, but you also have my honesty. And my honesty is always going to tell you what I do and what I don't support, or like black folks say, what I do and what I don't fuck with. If I fuck with more of what you do, I fuck with you. If I don't, I'm going to go quiet as your wife when she mad.
Candace, same thing on the other side. How are we negotiating? What is the negotiation tactics so that we're not acquiescing to somebody else's agenda, but being clear about ours in the process of giving them our support?
Well, I would say the first thing is that it's important to identify what our agenda actually is. And I think that the most important thing for people in this room to understand is that there is a very small window. Right now, the black vote is the most important vote in the country. There's a very small window before our vote's not going to matter. These conferences won't matter, and us sitting here won't matter, because illegal immigration, if you're looking at the numbers, every new birth in this country, 60% of all new births are Hispanic Americans, and the Democrats are about, listen, you're saying, let me get to the point. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with it. I say illegal is the new black because it's true, and there's a reason why they're advocating for open borders. Right now, our vote means a lot, but new births of black Americans have stagnated. The population growth within black America has stagnated. So the things that I pay attention to are the numbers. I pay attention to the birth rates in this country, which is why I'm pro putting something down to stop illegal immigration. The second thing that I think is really important, and you may have heard me testify in front of Congress, is the illiteracy rates that are facing black America. 75% of black boys in California can't pass a reading exam. Across Baltimore, they looked at 5 schools. They couldn't find a single black boy that was a single black child that could pass a basic reading or a math exam. So I caught a lot of slack because I said, this is the Democrat plantation, but I meant what I said. If you look historically at what the plantations were when we were slaves, there were 3 things that were necessary for them to run. The first was our ignorance. Black Americans were not allowed to learn how to read unless we would have our limbs chopped off. And that was because an educated mind cannot be enslaved. So the fact that our schools are in this condition in the inner cities and all throughout America and not a single candidate is talking about it is problematic to me. I think that that's a huge negotiating tool for me. We need to be talking about the inner city schools. Another component, and this is the biggest issue that I think is facing black America today, which was important to maintaining the plantations, was the breakdown of family. The biggest issue facing black America is father absence. We have children that are growing up without their fathers in the home, and that is being incentivized by the government right now via the welfare system. When the government says we'll give you more money if you don't marry the father of your children, you are incentivizing bad behavior in our community. What happens when you remove a father from the home? This is why I do not mess with feminism at all. I'm not with it. This breakdown and mocking masculinity, making it seem like there's something wrong to be a man, all of this contributes to the breakdown of family. When you remove...
y'all, hey, hold on. So, hold on, brother, hold on. There's going to be an opportunity for each of you to engage, but I want to make sure this sister has the right to talk while she's here. That's why we invited her. So let her say what she needs to say, and then let's keep it moving. Come on, y'all.
The single motherhood rate in the 1960s in black America, and they thought that...
Now, hold on. I want to finish this. This is on your behalf. At a certain point, we can't be assholes. At a certain point, these are black men and women, and in particular, these are black women. On some real G shit. It doesn't matter how you feel about her personally. Everything she has just said, Louis Farrakhan said for the last 25 fucking years. So with no. And I don't know if she's a fan of Farrakhan. I know me and Tamika are. Bam. But you cannot take the truth and be mad at who tells it to you. So just chill, bruh. Shut the fuck up. Let her say it and receive the information. That's it. I apologize. I digress.
Thank you.
Mike, thank you so much for
I
saying what
want you to continue because I was listening.
Yeah, So, I mean, I've been turned into public enemy number one. I say the same thing when I hit every stage. The single motherhood rate in the black community in the 1960s, before Lyndon Baines Johnson started the Great Society Act, was 23%. At that time, that was considered very high. 23% of black people growing up without a father in the home. The single motherhood rate in the black community today is 74%. 74% of our children are growing up without a father in the home. It was Barack Obama, who I don't even really have anything for, who told you what happens when you remove a father from the home. You're 9 times more likely to end up in prison. You're 6 times more likely to drop out of high school, and you're 12 times more likely to lead a life of poverty. Why is nobody talking about father absence, and why do we keep being silenced when we actually do? This is what black conservatism is, by the way. It's really not. It's not that controversial.
So Tip, I'm gonna let you come in a second, but I want to make sure I get Katrina in here, and then we're gonna open this up a little bit, because at some point I hear all of this, but the issue is we still got to elect people, and we.
Killer Mike had to come in and step in there for a second. That's the biggest problem. Is somebody says to you, Candace Owens stupid, she don't know what she's talking about. And like Killer Mike said, the other guy's been saying that for 25 fucking years. Folks, the information's here. This just kind of carries on to, y'all more than welcome to research. I just wanted to show a little bit of you. T.I., Killer Mike, Candace Owens, and more talk Black Agenda voting and Donald Trump. In a nutshell, I think T.I., except for maybe T.I., but the rest of them are behind Donald Trump. They understand they're trying to get a movement started. Black Lives Matter. And I'm going to tell you, all these guys up here on the stage ain't with Black Lives Matter. It's phony. It's bullshit. Clear. I mean, if y'all ain't seen, if you don't know that yet, if you have to listen to me tell you that to understand.
That drug problem. Is that right? Is it amphetamines?
The
what is
opioid.
Opioid. Yeah.
Okay, you're ready when I
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are rolling into another episode of the Candace Owens Show. Look, guys, I take all the bullets for Black America. I say the things you're not allowed to say when you're supposed to be babying a culture and making people think that there's some virtue in victimhood. But I am so glad to announce today that there is one man who takes more figure.
Here's the episode I was looking for right here.
Like them being known me and being trying to be, I think they just feel like they can't come at me this same way because I'm really a street person. So
Yeah.
it's like,
all right, you ready to start? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are rolling into another episode of the Candace Owens Show. I will be honest and I will say, for the first time in my political career, I have been feeling pessimistic about the Black community. I jumped into this space feeling optimistic, feeling like there was change that could be implemented if we were willing to have the tough conversations. When I look up at the world today and I see these protests and I see these riots and I see who and what is at the center of these riots, when I see Black businesses being burned down, when I see Black criminals being martyred, and when I see Black athletes and Black celebrities and Black community leaders sanctioning this violence in our community and remaining mum on the larger instances of violence in our community, I wonder if Black America will ever get ahead. When I sit down and I think by myself about why we ended up in this predicament, I always come up with the answer of culture. What is Black culture? How is it impacting Black America? Is it for the better or is it for the worse? Here to discuss all of those things with me is first and foremost, a personality. If you are not following online, he goes by the moniker King Face. Welcome to the Candace Owens Show.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Kingface is also, for those of you that are listening, he is one of my Black City ambassadors. He speaks to the Black community, and by himself, he is the founder of something called the Dad Project.
And I showed you in the earlier video about the Brexit, and you know what the Democrats have done is woke a lot of people up by their bullshit over the last 4 years. Trying to impeach our president. I want to applaud the Democrats for waking a lot of people up, including me. We never paid attention had they not spent the last 4 years trying to turn our president out, who is somebody we voted for. So thank you, Nancy Pelosi. Thank you, Adam Schiff. Thank you, Nadler. We have paid attention. People that has never been politically involved, you have got our attention like never before. And we are not stupid. We are paying attention, and you will know. You will see these votes, and I truly believe it will be a turnout like you never believe, like you ain't never seen, and getting votes by the race card this time, it's probably going to work to a small percentage because we got these Black Lives Matter idiots. But it's certainly not going to have the effect it has in the past. So, c'est la vie.
Which stands for Developing American Dreams. There's so much that we need to get into, and I could go off on a tangent here. Just give us your take on what's happening right now with Black Lives Matter and all of these protests and riots.
I mean, I just think it's in a sense, a test to see who they can control and who they can't. Black Lives Matter, they've always used the emotions of Black people in order to get their agendas to be pushed. And I've noticed that it's like everything is emotional. It's like everything. You got cops shooting somebody and they put this certain narrative. And what that does in our community, it builds fear. And once you're afraid of something, especially with officers who you're supposed to feel safe around, and they keep pushing that narrative, people are going to now be put in more positions to have those things happen, because that's how they make their money. That's how they get their exposure, is through the death of Black men. They don't get it from actually, protecting Black lives at all. Nothing is about Black Lives Matter that has to do with any Black lives. If somebody could show me when they've been around to actually prevent these George Floyd incidents, as you would say, from happening, then I could look at Black lives like it's a positive thing. But they're not doing that. They only come around election time. They only come around when a black dead man gets killed by a cop that's white or perceived to be white. And they use that to actually use that to destroy our strength within ourselves. It's like wearing a mask. It's killing the immune system. It's weakening us more and more and more and more and more and more. So then you look at it like, now I could get them because they're already broken down. Even with this George Floyd situation, there's people that usually don't care about that stuff that I noticed was like, yo, that's messed up. But to the point where they're praising him. That's why when people say, oh, you agree with Candace? I'm like, yes, we have to stop praising these type of people. And Black Lives Matter, that's all they ever push. I've never seen in my life, if this exists, then I want to see it. A kid going to school, minding his business, getting good grades, no record, getting shot by a cop. Is it a coincidence that everybody that's shot by a cop has a bad record? So even when people like George Floyd, I'm like, and you said it so perfect, I'm like, wow, it makes so much sense. What about that woman that he put the gun to her stomach? What do you think she's going through right now? It's like, you guys are making him like.
So what they're talking about is George Floyd pretended to be a city worker, knocked on the door. The lady realized something wasn't right, tried to shut the door. George Floyd forced his way in on a pregnant woman, stuck a gun to her stomach. Well, they talk more about it. And that's who we're worshiping. That's who we're. George Floyd's death was definitely not right, and somebody's paying for that, and that's where it should be left. But these children is where we should be. If you're gonna act a fool over anything, how come you're not acting a fool over that? That is unacceptable. But everybody's okay with that. Anyway, continue on.
The greatest guy on earth. He's probably one of the worst. Especially a pregnant woman. Like, come on, you have to have some kind of morals, no matter what crimes you're involved in. Because when I grew up, it was no women and kids. If you're dealing with somebody, it's just men on men. Kids and women, all right, we leave you. We see you walk, even in the street, like, we see you walking with your baby or your wife, all right, you got to pass for right now, bro. I'll catch you on the rebound.
Right. There's a level of respect for women and children, and that has been written into the culture of not just America, of all societies for a very long time. Women or children are seen as the most vulnerable. And when you see a pregnant woman, and this is all I could think about, reading that story of she gets a knock at the door and somebody is pretending, just the plotting that went into this, pretending to be a part of the water department. And by the time she opens the door and realizes something is wrong and she tries to force it shut, you have George Floyd, who, by the way, is monstrous in size. I believe he's 6'7", was 6'7".
He looked huge.
I think the correct is he's 6'7", very, very big.
He's kind of muscular as well.
Very muscular, forces his way inside to a pregnant woman. She's home alone, takes the barrel of his gun and puts it to her stomach. His friend pistol whips her, and they robbed her place. They took her wallet, and it's not like this was one incident that happened and it was, that was back when I was on drugs. No, that was the 9th time that he went to prison. It is really hard to go to prison 9 times. And I'm a person that believes in second chances. I know you do too, by the way. I want to get into also your story so that we're not, thinking that this is people that think people can't make a mistake. They can. People can make mistakes.
I've made a lot of them.
You're right.
But not too crazy to go to jail.
Right. Have you been to prison 9 times?
No.
That's a record. That's got to be some sort of a record. And what does it do to the psyche of a child when you pretend that this person is just an ultimate victim, a hero? They were calling him a hero. Did you hear the eulogy? I mean, you would have thought this person spent his whole life dedicated to God and just trying to uplift his community when in fact he was terrorizing it.
Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people that terrorize the community and stay positive things too. My thing is why we didn't give that same energy to Nipsey Hussle.
That's exactly right.
He was actually doing something for his community. Despite that he was a part of a gang, he still said, I still want to build my community. I want to make what Crip is about really stand for something. Same thing with the blood thing. I'm a former blood member. I'd rather not say a former blood member. I'd rather say I'm a former gangbanger because there's a difference. Because really what blood is about when you look at it is brotherly love, override oppression and destruction. So that's what I believe in. Same thing with Crips, community revolution.
So I just wanted to show y'all some of these clips. I'm not going to play the whole thing. Guys, the education's out there. I do want to do one more thing.
Children caught in the crossfire of rising gun violence across New York City. A 1-year-old has died after being hit by bullets at a Brooklyn playground last night.
And a 12-year-old was shot in a separate incident. CBS 2's John Diaz joins us live from Bedford-Stuyvesant with more. John.
Yeah, good morning, Dick and Mary. We are told that 12-year-old is expected to be okay, recovering in the hospital right now. But some sad news, though, to report here out of Bedside, Brooklyn this morning. Police confirming with us that 1-year-old was sitting in a stroller when he was shot in the stomach, transported to the hospital right away, and later died at the hospital. I want you to take it right here to the scene. Take a look behind me. Police still out here investigating. We are told that the group of people that this 1-year-old was with were having a barbecue when gunshots erupted. A violent and chaotic night in Brooklyn when bullets began to fly just outside Raymond Bush Playground on Madison Street in Bed-Stuy. Police say around 11:30 last night, 3 adults were shot and a 1-year-old boy in his stomach. All rushed to area hospitals. Those adults are in stable condition. Police are still searching for clues this Monday morning. They believe a group of people ambushed the victims, jumping out of a car and firing multiple times, then driving away. 2 hours earlier and nearly 2 miles away in Crown Heights, another child shot, this one a preteen. Police say a 12-year-old boy was shot in the leg while sitting in front of a home at the corner of Ralph Avenue and Prospect Place. Authorities say at first he didn't know what happened. He heard gunshots and then he felt pain. He is now recovering in the hospital in stable condition. It comes after another weekend of gun violence in New York City. There were
That's ridiculous. So, we'll kind of wrap it up here. I just want to have a moment of silence for this 1-year-old. Pray for his family. Hold on a second. I just wanted to show you all the clip of the father speaking. I don't think it's made its way. I know it's on Fox News. It probably taken a while to show it. Because he just spoke this morning. Still replaying, in fact. Guys, we're all American patriots. I love y'all as American patriots. Our skin color, in this century, our skin color doesn't matter. We can come together and we can do a lot better than that Black Lives Matter group. I will get behind your message. I will stand with my brother. Protect our children. Take up as much information as you can. Be knowledgeable. There's no reason for us to be ignorant to what's going on around us. Protect your family. Hug your children. No matter what, always stand up for their rights. No matter what that means. Our country is, I have faith it's going to turn out. This is going to turn out. But we have to keep the right people in office. We gotta stop going against the police officers. Just like they said in Candace Owens. Hey, look, I get pulled over by police too, and sometimes I get a little mouthy, get an attitude with them. But ultimately, if you give them respect, you're going to get respect. If you're not doing felony criminal things, more than likely you'll be okay. And don't attack them, don't run from them. There are some cops a little headstrong out there, and but at the end of the day, if you act right, you'll go home. And a lot of times, guys, even when you get tickets, what y'all don't realize is sometimes cops are no different. We're all human. We are all human. And cops make more mistakes than people realize. People always go plead guilty. I see it all the time. A lot of times you're pleading guilty to a ticket that you wasn't guilty of. If you research, do your research, talk to lawyers. Probably 80% of the time, if it's you were doing 70 mile an hour and the ticket says that, and it was a 55 mile an hour zone, okay, that's common tickets. But violation of lane usage, stuff like that, do your homework. There's a good chance that the cop wrote you for the wrong law because there's so many sub-laws under that main law. They get it wrong all the time. So, all the time, I can't tell you how many times a cop wrote me a ticket the other day. He said he paced me for 72 miles an hour. I knew he was. I'm like, that's fine. I'll take it. I'll see you in court. Because that don't hold water. If you get wrote a ticket and a cop said he paced you, you can beat that all day long. Supreme Court wrote on this, set a law on this. He has to have evidence of you speeding, and him saying he paced you it's zero evidence. Don't ever plead guilty to that bullshit. That's a real common mistake. You can beat that all day, every day without a lawyer. Research, if you have to, give a lawyer a couple hours to get some information if you can't find it yourself. It's better than paying them $2,000, and it's better than giving the court money for a ticket you can beat yourself. Anyway, so just be mindful. There is, you're not always guilty of the crime. Simple tickets. Just check it out. Make sure the cop was on his cues. If you get a ticket, make sure it's correct. And if it's not, go fight it. Go fight for your rights. That's the beautiful thing about our country. I'm going to beat this ticket I got the other day because I knew the guy. I was in my Dodge Challenger, my 1320 Scat Pack. So he pulled me over for nothing more than appearance. And he thought for sure I would just go pay the ticket. I'm not. I'm going to go in there and fight it because I know better than you can. Saying you paced me at 72 miles an hour, which he really didn't. I really wasn't doing 72, so I knew he was full of shit anyway. But saying he paced me at 72 miles an hour that's not evidence, and it won't hold water in court. And I'm not just going to go give these people my money because I'm ignorant, guys. We need to unite. We need to stand together. We need to stop letting Democrats, just like them people in St. Louis charged with a crime, and they followed the law, and they begged for help, and nobody would help them, and they're at fault. They used their Second Amendment right, but before they did, they begged for help, for protection. We didn't see. They pay taxes, law-abiding citizens, and demonstrated their Second Amendment right, and they got charged with a crime. People, are you letting this go on in St. Louis? I'm going to make a phone call to St. Louis today. I hope everyone does. If nothing else, pick up the phone and tell them we don't approve of this. I don't care if you call the prosecutor's office. I don't care if you call the senator's office. You make a phone call today and you just let them know where you stand. I love you guys. Protect your children. Vote this year. Be knowledgeable. Be mindful. We have to save our country. And we're on the verge of ungodly things. Other than that, I know it's been a long video, and if you watch the whole thing, I really appreciate you. So, with that, I'm out. Peace, love, and y'all be safe.